Hello everybody. This weekend we're going to work on the baggage compartment floor, the flap push rods and the main bulkhead gusset. I created a nice hanger banner, so I use it now in the workshop. Okay, starting off with the baggage compartment floors. I postponed it quite long because as soon as you rivet those, you cannot really access the ribs beneath it. And I'm afraid of, let's say, drill and file P parts going in there. But I have to carry on, so this time I decided to rivet them. So the rivets near to the tunnel, those are plate nuts, and you can rivet them, let's say, in the normal way. They have to be flush because there is a tunnel cover that covers the push rod for the elevators. All the other rivets, so the rivets with the side panels and also to the ribs, they're all blind rivets, or pop rivets as some people call them. That's because you cannot reach underneath, right? There's no way that you can reach it, so you have to do it with pop rivets. And also, it's not a problem because although pop rivets are not as strong as normal rivets, there is no structural strength on these rivets anyway, so that's not a problem. Most rivets, I think, let's say of the 12,000 rivets that you have to do, probably 11,500 are normal rivets, and there are only maybe maybe 500 pop rivets or something like that. I'm not sure, but at least not much. And I especially make it a challenge for myself to minimize the number of blind rivets. Okay, this is the next day probably. I'm working together with my dad again, while I'm still working on the baggage compartment floors. He's working on the flap push rods, so those are very small rods, and you just get a piece of aluminum tubing from Vans, and on both sides you have to tap thread in there. So that's what my dad's doing. He's tapping thread into the push rods, so you can screw eyebolts in there. You can see he's working on it. It's a lengthy process. It's takes some time because every time you have to clean it up, put a little cutting oil in there, and continue working on threading it. So it's nice if you can work with two men, completely independent. That way you, it goes twice as fast. So that's good. I have to look in how to drill the holes for these flap push rods, because I thought it was just a small hole in the bottom, but that's actually not the case. I saw with another builder who was already finished that you also have to trim something from the side, because the eye bolt that is connected to the flap in the wing goes all the way up and goes up into the side skin. So it's not just a hole, it's much more than that. I didn't see that on drawings, and I have to look into it because I didn't know it. It's funny because every time when you start a new section, you look at other people's planes and then you see, that's the way they did it. So you learn on the way. That's probably a good thing, because if you have to know all these details up front, there's no way you can do that. So it's good that I have some friends here in the Netherlands who also build RVs. That's why I can see how they did it, see what parts I like and what parts I didn't like, and change it. Yeah. So I'm only going to insert the baggage compartment floor. I'm not going to insert the seat floors. Well, I'm going to insert them, but I'm not going to rivet them yet, because I try to postpone these things as long as possible. Because once you do that, there's no way you can reach under it, and something goes in there, which already happened to me actually. you have to start fishing. So that's it. That's the baggage compartment. Now there are two type of planes. There is the tail dragger, the Vance tail dragger, the RV-7, and the RV-7A, which is a nose wheel, a tricycle. I'm building the tail dragger, so I'm building the RV-7. And where I'm working now, it's probably hard to see, but it's in the corner where the main bulkhead attaches to the side. There is a gusset, and the gusset differ between the RV-7A and the RV-7. So for the RV-7A, it is actually where the main gear, the main tricycle gear, enters the cockpit. But my main gear, because I'm building a 7, is attached to the engine mount forward of the firewall. So we have to work on a different gusset, and that was hard actually. It almost didn't fit, it looked like it, but in the end it worked out okay. Oh, so here I'm actually I see riveting also the seat parts. So the back part of the seat, that is also riveted, again with flush rivets. The forward side of the seat is screwed on because there is the stick is in there, so there's a lot of moving parts which you need to be able to access for maintenance purposes. I already inserted all the blind rivets, as you can see. All the little angles are sticking out. So now I'm also inserting the seats, the backs, and that's it. That's how it should look. Okay, continuing building my pie in the sky.